everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to it's not a ref bump, it's a referee's discretion. My name is Ryan, along with the best there was, best there is, the best there will be. It's Jeff the Hitman Hall.
Hello.
Honestly, this is the second time recording this intro, so we're gonna cut to the chase. If you haven't been following our social media adventures, we've been to Knoxville twice for Next Generation Wrestling Tennessee. Get your tickets now, nextgentn.net. And we've also been to Ring of Honor since they've been allowing fans back in their shows. We went to Best in the World 2021 back in July, I want to say.
Ish. Yep.
Yeah, July. You know what? It was July because Party Bowl was at the end of June.
We rolled right
2 weeks later. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is convenient because we are taking a look at potentially the best in the Best in the World series, I guess you could say. It's Best in the World 2015. And Jeff, this has been on your review list for a long time. And just enlighten everybody that's watching. Why was this on your requested list?
Not to just go ham and go crazy on this thing, but I'm a stickler on some of the newer wrestling fans with wrestling only starting in 2017 for some people. And that's fair. You're born when you're born, you watch when you watch. But yeah, for all you other people that were watching wrestling before then, this was a really good show, and this was the culmination of a lot of good storylines coming to pay off. This was kind of Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor wasn't always the best, but they just had really good wrestling. And then this was the combination of everything. Well, they were good before this, but I mean, it was everything coming together in this pay-per-view, and they were just really hitting their stride, and it was just one good show after another, TV after another. And this Best in the World was it may be one of my favorite shows of all time. And not because it's like the greatest show, but just what it means for wrestling. And we'll go through the card and the matches and all the people that people love now are shockingly are on Ring of Honor people. But again, that's an argument for another day.
Yeah, we're going to be going through this card, and there is going to be a cavalcade of who's who, because I would say probably at least 75% of this card is no longer with Ring of Honor, and they're either in WWE or they are with they're with AEW.
And this is the, and sorry to cut you off, Codd, but this is what I love telling younger people, or just people in general. There was a time where you could go see all these guys from 10 feet away for $30, $25. It's mind blowing sometimes.
Yeah, it was definitely a sight to behold, and this was a handful of years before All In was even a thing. And I just feel like people forget about a time before pro wrestling that was before all in, which was kind of to your point. And I think that All In was just this perfect culmination of everything we've wanted to see and everybody that we needed to have in professional wrestling at that time. It was getting off track, but I don't care. It was Bullet Club and the bigger name guys kind of splitting from Ring of Honor and kind of slowly splitting from New Japan to kind of go on this indie excursion. And this is kind of where it all started, because I know I said that at least 75% of this card isn't with Ring of Honor anymore, but it's about, I say about 40%, are with AEW right now, or at least have appeared with AEW, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it.
It is. And then, my qualms and arguments, you got people that don't like Ring of Honor, but like all these guys, or not that they don't like Ring of Honor, but like, oh, Ring of Honor, I never heard of it. Oh, well, you conveniently watch AEW every week, though.
Yeah. Let's not waste any more time. We're going to jump right into it.
What's wrong?
We had a dark match we won't go into depth on, but it was Jay Diesel, the romantic touch Rhett Titus, Will Ferrara, and Cheeseburger, now known as world famous CB, and CB does go over.
I keep forgetting this name change.
I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was like National Cheeseburger Day, and everybody was wishing him like, happy Cheeseburger Day on Twitter. And he's like, I don't go by that anymore, but go eat a cheeseburger. like fully selling the gimmick there, which I absolutely love.
I respect it.
Up first on the main card, it is Mark Briscoe with ODB taking on Donovan Dijak with Truth Martini. Jeff, go ahead.
So I love the House of Truth was good. I mean, again, all this stuff I'm saying, it's just my opinion. If you don't like it, then oh well. If you like it, oh well. Same.
Referee discretion.
Yeah, this House of Truth was great, and we'll get into Jay Lethal later. Donovan Dijak is an absolute star, or maybe should I say was, because Lord knows what they're doing with him now. I see he's wearing regular clothes at least, so I guess that's a step in the right direction. But Donovan Dijak is just absolutely amazing, and he's kind of a new star. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a new star, but he was kind of getting his legs up under him during this time period in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, for sure, and I think he was still early in his run here as well, so there wasn't a lot of traction yet with him. But this is a high-profile match for him. Either one of the Briscoes, as far as singles action goes, is bound to be at least a good match. It was. It's not one by the end of the night that I remembered. Everything in the ring was fine. There was nothing wrong with the match. It was just
it was an opening match.
It was fine. Yeah. But we do get Mark Briscoe going over, hitting the froggy bow, getting the win. I did like, though, at this point in Ring of Honor that we kind of had the Briscoes separated for a little while. I think just the Briscoe name carries a lot, and especially with a guy who's fresh in the Ring of Honor, kind of giving Dijak a little bit of a rub. Obviously not by the result, but a lot of the rub, comes from the in-ring work and how you're getting over. I thought this match was fine. I gave it 2.5 out of 5. It was a good opening match. Just again, Dijak just getting his feet wet. Crowd was kind of touch and go for this one too.
Yeah. I didn't remember that, so it was interesting to see that. Obviously going back now, it's been a long time since I watched this, but so yeah.
Do you have a grade for that one?
I went 2.
Okay.
I don't like it. I mean, it is probably about 2.5. I don't like half stars personally, but it wasn't. I mean, I didn't think it was a 3, so I just gave it a 2.
Yeah, and I also forgot that ODB was even with the Ring of Honor.
Not long.
No,
not long at all.
As they say, a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, the Almighty Dave Meltzer gave this 2 out of 5. So you're right on with it.
It's right where I want to be, I guess.
Next matchup, we have Matt Seidel and ACH. Make sure not to use his slave name. Taking on the Decade, which is comprised of was Adam Page before he was Hangman,
Mm-hmm.
and BJ Whitmer, and they're with Colby Corino.
I may be a homer again. This stuff was good. BJ, the feud that BJ Whitmer had with Carino Senior, Stephen Carino,
yeah,
was good because he had his son Colby, and he was making him do all this stuff, and he was poisoning his mind. And Carino is, I mean, a heel / the biggest you know what in the world, so it just worked. All of it was great. I'd argue, that was probably Adam Page a little bit, like in this early, his early stuff.
Yeah. Nothing really got me excited for Hangman. If this was the first time I was seeing him, it wouldn't be a memorable start for me.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because that's exactly what happened with me. First time I seen Hangman at Ring of Honor, he just was like generic wrestler with like John Deere color scheme, like tights. And then the more and more you go to, at that time I went to Ring of Honor, I was like, okay, this guy has something.
Yeah, and then now you look at him in AEW 2021, and we're talking about potential next AEW World Champion taking the title off of Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this match was missing something. I feel like the heat for BJ Whitmer was there at the beginning, but then it just kind of faded.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time the heat faded a little bit, it was just kind of it was just kind of an average tag,
Yeah, I'm not putting it on Matt Seidel and ACH. I'm not, but it just seemed like it didn't mesh. It wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Like they weren't bad faces, but it's almost like they didn't necessarily know what to do with a heel, still like a heelish Steve Curry, like on that type of level. Again, like they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, but. Yeah. It was just that the decade is great, and they just didn't really know how to work the work. Yeah. And I say work in the term, and not the terms of the in-ring stuff, but just working with different characters. I think it would be a better description of what happened. But at the end, Adam Page just picked up the win. He hits the rite of passage, gets the 3 on Matt Seidel. It was fine. I got it up to a 2 out of 5. It could have been more with a different tag team across from the decade that knew how to work, like you said, against heels. But in that department, just felt kind of flat.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was, again, like you said, not a bad match at all, but not in the right situation. The heels too strong. Like, even when they lost, I was like, did they?
Yeah. Yeah. And then we get an advertisement for Kushida, Okada, and Nakamura returning for their next handful of shows.
Who's that?
It's crazy to think that all 3 of these guys would come together on one stage, and then we're going to keep referencing where they are now in 2021, where you have Kushida, the Cruiserweight champion on NXT. You have King Nakamura, the IC champion on SmackDown, and then you have Kazuchika Okada, who is in the G. Is he in G1? Yeah. Yeah, he actually just won his opening match this morning. So but yeah, it just goes to show you that these guys can work. They are fantastic, and not that there was ever a question about Okada being the shining star out of these 3. But the other 2, I feel like, are just buried by the WWE product.
Yeah, I mean Kushida I knew, but Nakamura I guess I had like a faint um hope. And to be fair, I mean he went undefeated for a lot. They booked him right kind of for a while,
Mm,
and then they went back to what they like to do.
yeah. Exactly. Uh, Next match on our card, it is Dalton Castle versus Silas Young. Both are still with Ring of Honor to this day. This was probably the one match on this card that was a little disappointing for me. There were some fun spots, but it just felt like the match flow overall just wasn't there, and just nothing clicked. Which is sad because they're in a pretty good feud right now, and they've had better matches than this. This one would, what's the word? There just wasn't a lot of cohesion for me. The flow just never really got going for me.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. You're right. They've had so many matches, and I mean, this happens in a feud, and then we've done other pay-per-views like this. This just happened to be the one where it wasn't that great. Because what did we have a while ago, Cobb? Remember, it was Eddie Guerrero and
oh gosh,
remember somebody else that could really Malenko maybe
it was
probably.
probably.
Yeah, I remember like when we looked at it on paper, like, oh, this is gonna be great. I mean, watching it, we were like, it wasn't bad by no means, but you're just like, what happened here? And it was just one of those two guys that have had really good matches throughout their whole feuding / program, and this was probably their worst.
Yeah, and like we said, and like you said, this happens in a feud when it's been going on for a while, and you're trying to come up with different ways to tell your story. And Dalton Castle's character work is fantastic. Silas Young has always been the last real man.
You're damn right.
No doubt. But so I'm going to put this a half a star below the tag match. I've got it 1.5, and I had it at 2 until the finish. The finish really kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
It was instead of ice cream on top, it was the dog poop on top of this match. You know what I mean? It was
Dalton Castle gets crotched, and then Silas Young is arguing with the ref, and then Dalton Castle hits his own low blow and rolls up for the win. And then post match, we get the beat down of the boys. So the feud goes on. But the finish just, I don't think, was the right call.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I gave it a 1. What did Meltzer give it?
To backtrack, he gave the tag match 2.25. He gave this 2.5. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're all pretty much on the same page here. Moving on to our next match. It's a tag team match, playa. As we get War Machine. Do you know these guys?
Viking Experience?
Yeah. Viking Experience.
Those guys?
So this is War Machine, better known as Hanson and Raymond Rowe, whoever those guys are, taking on the CNC Wrestle Factory, the team of Caprice Coleman, who we just saw come back to the Honor Rumble just this last pay-per-view with Ring of Honor, and Cedric Alexander.
Yeah. I told you all these people you could see back in this. Well, I guess it is back in the day at this point, but it's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this match was about 3.5 minutes. This I feel like this was to drive the fact that Cedric Alexander was a heel now more than it was to actually get CNC over as a tag team.
Yeah.
War Machine hits the Fallout on Caprice. Cedric Alexander's upset. He didn't even try and break up the pin.
He don't care.
Yeah. Almost takes him out after the match and then just says they're done and left. I'll give it a half a star. It was there to. I really don't know why this was here, honestly, because it's not like the last match had and see we say this about AEW a lot, where you're watching a show of theirs, whether it's a pay-per-view or whether it's a special, what have you, but it's just match after match after match, and it's just action, and then at some point you just get exhausted.
Yeah.
It's not like the show did this. If you remember from All Out, they had the Paul White and QT Marshall match on right before the main event, and I thought that was a good booking decision to kind of give everyone a break, and they needed it with the two big reveals at the end. But this wasn't in the same breath as that. This shouldn't have been on the show, I don't think. This was just kind of a waste of time. They could have done this on a weekly television.
Yeah, I don't really understand the mindset here because, like you said, I get it. So you're showing Caprice go heel or cutting ties, and that's that. War Machine is actually rocking and rolling at this point, just in general. But yeah, so I didn't. I mean, they could have went. 3, 4, 5 more minutes. Like I can't imagine. They could have bunched that time around in the show between somewhere, or there hadn't been that many matches at that point for it to be like, oh, well, we went too long somewhere, and that's why we had to there's no way in the third match in,
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it would be a couple of years still before we would get War Machine, better known as the War Raiders in NXT. All right, here's where I think the card picks up a little bit. It is they call it a 3-way match. It's just a triple threat match. Don't get it confused with a 3-way dance because that's my favorite. But there's a triple threat. Winner is the new number 1 contender to the Ring of Honor World Championship. We get Moose being accompanied by Vita Scott and Stokely Hathaway. Sounds awful familiar. And then we get Roddy Strong and Michael Elgin. Go ahead, Jeff, because this is probably up to this point the best match on the card.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, again, 3 guys that can really wrestle. And just like you said, it was that shot of energy that this card needed. So kind of getting everybody on the edge of their chairs, their seats. Moose was really super green in this, but to be fair to him, I mean, he was coming into wrestling. But going back watching it now, you look at Moose. Well, this is what I took away. The other guys are great, obviously, but the biggest thing I took away from it was like, man, like Moose was going to be a star, And again, it's not that necessarily he was, Dean Malenko or Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart out there, but you just could tell that he had, with his size and everything and his charisma, he kind of had everything, and it was just kind of a matter of time before he became the Moose that he is now.
Yeah, and you could definitely tell, to your point, that he was super green at this point.
Yeah, he was.
He would be on the top rope, and he looked absolutely frightened.
Mm.
and, and not that he can't do these spots. I mean, because he's a hell of an athlete, but being an athlete and being on the top rope in a wrestling ring, two different things.
Yeah, I don't think they were necessarily asking him to do stuff that he couldn't do, but I think of when you first your job or something, you're first starting to do things, you can practice all you want, but when you actually have to do it and you're out there and people are watching you, it's different. There's a lot of pressure on it. And Roddy Strong is just Roddy Strong. I mean, he may be one of the most not disrespected, but underlined Ring of Honor guy of all time, damn near.
Yeah. Roddy Strong in 2015 is what professional wrestling is. It's, I think it's a shame that he's only won the world title once. With Ring of Honor, and I feel like it's well overdue with him in NXT. Which with their new direction, who the hell knows what's going on there. But like I said, this was the match of the night to this point. We're gonna get to one that I think is, just start to finish. This is a good match, and they really did the triple threat stipulation well.
Yeah, not a bunch of. And it's funny you should say that, Codd, because you go back and you look at wrestling from 2015, a while ago, but not terribly long ago, but a while ago necessarily. And you can just almost in some of these other matches too, in the tag match, you can still kind of see that we haven't gotten to some of these places that we are now, if that makes sense. Where it's like, oh, you have to do this in a triple threat match, or you have to do this spot in a tag match. It's they're not there yet.
Yeah, there's always the spot now in like triple threat matches where, from time to time, somebody will hit their finisher, and then the heel like waiting on the outside of the ring, kind of looking like Repo Man.
Yes,
kind of waiting to just slide in and throw you out and steal the win. But yeah, this was a solid match. Roddy Strong does get the win in the end. I have this. I couldn't get it to 3.5, but I wasn't settled with 3 stars. So I have it at 3.25 out of 5. Like I said, definitely the best match of the night to this point.
Yep, it's solid 3.
Yeah. So post match, Moose shakes hands with Roddy. Obviously, it's a solid match. Vita Scott slaps him. Starts yelling at him. It looks like Moose is going to hit her with a spear. Cedric Alexander comes back out. Takes out Stokely Hathaway. Takes out Moose with the wrench that they used in the last match. Gives it to Vita Scott. This is the new kind of power couple they're pushing with Cedric Alexander's new heel persona. He said that he should have been in the match. So I think combining the last match and this match, the last match makes more sense now. Storyline wise, but I feel like they could have done that maybe on the pre-show and still got the desired effect. But the crowd was given the heel work to Cedric Alexander. I thought it was good stuff at the end though.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think that because I mean, he was going. I mean, obviously he went heel, but he was liked for a long time. So that's why, like, I thought, like, oh well, maybe they're not gonna, because you can push a guy as a heel, but if people really, really like him, then you get in this weird, cheering the heel. But no, like when he finally went heel, I was like, oh, okay. Like I guess people, I didn't necessarily believe it. That's what I'm saying. I was like, I mean, okay, he's heel, but for how long, you know. But no, you're right. The fans were into it. They were hot for it. So I guess, you know, good on Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So at the end of this, so after the last two matches, looking at the umbrella here, War Machine get a squash win on a pay-per-view. Caprice Coleman is just there. Cedric Alexander is a full heel now, with Vita Scott by his side. Moose is a full-blown face now at this point. Roddy Strong's getting his title shot next month, and Michael Elgin just hanging out.
He does a lot. He does a lot at Ring of Honor.
Listen, he's a guy that I feel like if he cares about a match, it's going to be really good. But if he doesn't, it's going to be really crappy.
Yeah, and that's the knock on Elgin. I mean, that's who he is. He's really, really good, but it's when he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's when he wants to do it, how he sees fit. And I think a lot of times that was because later on down the road we get to a point where he needs the belt and he's got himself over. Mm. But knowing what we know now in totality, it's like, well, Ring of Honor was probably like, yeah, but he's going to be good until he decides he's not. Mm-hmm. You know, he just doesn't feel like doing whatever. So yeah, that's Michael Elgin for you.
Yeah. All right. This is tied for the highest grade that Dave Meltzer gave for this card. We have Bullet Club being represented by AJ Styles and the Young Bucks taking on the Kingdom, being comprised of Mikey Bennett, Matt Taven, and Adam Cole Bay.
Old school Kingdom.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Jeff. I'll let you start for this one.
I have like mixed emotions about this match. It's a good match. Don't get me wrong. It's a good match. You're just starting to see some of the shenanigans going on in modern wrestling, you know. I did like the Kingdom. I did like the Mikey Bennett, like, you know, seeing him and just not forgetting, but a lot, you know, this generation now, I don't know, 17 up or whatever, you know, they don't really know Mikey Bennett for Mikey Bennett. No, Mikey Bennett used to be a hard hitting a-hole who was the leader of this, you know. So you got Matt Taven and Adam Cole in a stable, and Mikey Bennett is the actual leader. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that tells you something. But you go, Codd. Tell me what you think.
Wow. So this was a rematch from the match they had at War of the Worlds. I thought that match was better than this match, but not by much. This was still. I think this was more exciting, I think, than the last match we watched. And I do think it was a little better. I mean, all six of these guys can go. There's no question. But I thought this was an above average trios match. The right team won.
Yeah.
And I like that they're kind of teasing the split here. With the Kingdom, obviously, this would be their last. This would be their last go a little bit before the split, and we would get into kind of Matt Taven's version of it. The finish, though, Indie Taker into a Styles clash. Bullet Club would win. There is a spot in here where Maria does eat the triple super kick, which good on her.
Yeah, real good on her.
Good on her. there was a spot last night at Impact Wrestling's a Victory Road 2021 where it was Alicia Edwards taking a huge last ride power bomb from W Morrissey, and
it was safe though. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like the bump's the bump, but like if you go back and you look at it, I mean, he couldn't have done it any perfect, you know.
Yeah, no, and all these spots are safe, but you don't always come across people that want to do that intergender work. And I think when it works out like we watched last night and then this with Maria, I think good on them.
Yeah, I don't mind. I think women taking bumps are fine. Like, as in, like you know, like you see, because you see a woman take a bump from a man, and you're like, oh no, you know that SOB, he needs to pay. And I think that's what it should do. Now, full blown matches, again, like if that's your thing, that's fine. It's just not my thing. But yeah, so the powerbomb last night was good. Also, this match, I gave 4 stars. Really good match. Also, I stick to my guns. AJ Styles, the best Bullet Club leader of all their iterations. It's something about just, you know, if you're looking in Japan, it's something about a Western faction Bullet Club, and then you have AJ Styles, who's twanging it up over in Japan. You know what I mean? Like Bullet Club, you know what I'm saying? It's just, he's just so good. He's just so good. And he doesn't have to, he speaks, his promos are good because AJ Styles, there's nothing that he does that's bad. But it just goes to show you, like, without being like, you know, a guy that's like, you know, 6'5" and huge, and like, no, he's still as menacing as those guys. And it just goes to show you how good AJ Styles is, and how good this iteration of Bullet Club was under his regime. And I mean, I'd even argue, Codd, that AJ Styles might be a top 10 wrestler of all time, if you ask me. It may be too high. I mean, it may be you know, recency effect, but prisoner of the moment. But
so looking at Bullet Club leadership, so we're gonna look at Prince Devitt, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, and Jay White. So you've got AJ Styles 1. How would you rank those? I'm putting you on the spot.
I would go 1, AJ Styles, 2, Devitt, 3, I would probably go. I would probably put Jay White last right now, only because they haven't really given him. I mean, who's in Bullet Club? You know what I'm saying? Like he just has what's left over. I think he's the best heel probably out of all of them. Like, as you just talked about, just like straight heel work. It's between him and AJ. But I mean, they just haven't given him anything, you know. And I love Jay White, but I'm not biased. I mean, it hasn't been great. He's great on his own, but like, you know, we have, again, like 2 or 3 Bullet Clubs, and now, you know, you have the Elite that are their own kind of, guess they're not Bullet Club, but still Bullet Club-ish.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't like this, what they're doing. So Tama Tonga and them have Bullet Club, which is fine. And then they're still, you know, like New Japan, they haven't really said what's going on with this, you know, with that Bullet Club. Then Jay White pops up on Impact, and like, okay, I don't know. It's just a lot of Bullet Club drama for me.
Yeah. So as of right now, currently, how many people, including Jay White, would you say are in Bullet Club currently?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, because like God, I don't know. I mean, 7. Like, I know Chase Owens is. I don't know. I just tell me, because I don't know what you're counting and not counting. The number is going to let me know.
16.
Okay, see, I was thinking like 9,
Oh
but
no,
yes,
no. So
16. Yeah, can we get a roll?
yeah,
Okay.
real quick, and then we'll move on to the next match. Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, Chris Bay, Dick to Go, El Phantasmo, Evil, Gato, Jado, Hikuleo, Jay White, Kenta, Show.
When Hikaleo getting Bullet Club?
He's been in it.
Well, I guess he's always yeah.
By
I guess he always
blood.
has by blood. Yeah.
Ishimori, Tamatonga, Tongaloa, and then the Tokyo Pimp.
Yeah, like all right.
Yeah, and then you think of all the like subgroups. You have you have God, you've got the Far East Connection. Now you have the House of Torture.
Yeah, it's just let it go, or let it be 4, 5, 6 guys, 7 guys, and then that's it.
I think we're gonna be looking for a I think we're gonna be looking at maybe we've been calling for it for a while, but I think Civil War is coming with now they have this House of Torture group, and it's Evil, Show, Takahashi, and Dick to Go. But
which I actually like, but it just needs to be its own thing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, they need to just yeah.
It needs to be its own thing. You need to cut Bullet Club down a little bit.
And no disrespect to Chris Bay, he's a great wrestler, but like Chris Bay shouldn't be in Bullet Club.
I like a lot of his. I like his character work, and I like his mannerisms so far. It's not like annoying. I think right now we're in this transitional phase with him where he's been Chris Bay that we've seen on Impact for years, and now we're transitioning into like Bullet Club, like
yeah, and that's fair. But like, I don't know, or tickle my fancy and let Jay White just break away and do his just be himself, please.
Of course. All right. Enough of our Bullet Club rant. We're moving on to the no disqualification match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. It is the Addiction. That would be Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian defending against Redragon. That would be Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Jeff, go
ahead. This is a great match in my book. This is tag team wrestling. Redragon, Red Dragon, or not necessarily at the height of their powers, but this is them for who they really, really are. Man, going back looking at this match, Kyle O'Reilly is so young looking. Looks like he don't look like a kid, but looks like a kid, I enjoyed this match. I don't know about you, Codd, but again, this is tag team wrestling to me, in the right way. And again, to me, it didn't have some of the things that you have to do because it's a tag team match. Didn't have some of those spots that you had to do. And the fact that Christopher Daniels is still wrestling, well, obviously he was wrestling back in 2015, but those guys to me can never get old. The Addiction, whatever you want to call them, him and Kazarian are tag team partners for life. And you won't hear me say nothing bad about them.
Yeah. The one major issue that I have with this match, they couldn't control, and that would be where they were put on the card. And I think the match itself, I have at 3.5 out of 5. I do when I typically grade matches, I do take it in account to some extent how invested the crowd is. And this is on Ring of Honor, though, where you book the last match, which was Adam Cole, Bennett, Taven, Styles, the Bucks, and you put this match on right after that. Again, I mentioned earlier about fans being exhausted. And this was a great example of that, where this is a really good tag match, and I think they made good use of the no disqualifications stipulation, especially in Ring of Honor, where the Code of Honor was not adhered to. But this is a layout issue by Ring of Honor. I would have left this here. I would have put the 6-person tag before the whole War Machine match and the triple threat, because I feel like in that sense, you're coming out of that first hour after the Dalton Castle match, and where the first hour was a little bit underwhelming, you're going to come out of that first hour into this incredible 6-person tag. And then you get a chance to breathe with the squash, and then you get the triple threat match, and then this. And I think staging it that way helps everybody. I think you would have actually gotten a bigger pop in the 6-man match had it been earlier in the card, because I think the triple threat kind of took a little bit away, but not as much as it did from this match.
I think you're 100% accurate. I would have put this match right where you put it as well, because you get your first jolt of adrenaline with this match. If you're thinking of a card in halves or quarters or whatever, you know what I mean? You get that shot of energy, and then you can roll into the rest of the card. Yeah. Watching it too, like you said, well, once you get through the show, you're like, and we look at the card like on paper. I know you, and I know you were thinking like, well, why would they put this, right behind the? I'm sure that when I read the card again, went back and read the card, I was like, boy, I was like, Codd's probably pulling his hair out, reading this, the way these things were booked and the order as such. But yeah, I'm with you. You shouldn't have put this on after that match. But with that being said, beautiful match. I gave it a 4.
Yeah. I took a little away because the finish of this match is Chris Sabin runs in, pulls out Kyle O'Reilly. Pulls the ref out, takes out Kyle O'Reilly. The addiction low blow, Bobby Fish hit the celebrity rehab, get the win. I don't think you needed the interference there.
You didn't.
I think it was I think in that regard it was a little overbooked. But again, this was a solid tag match. Everything that happened within the confines of the match, easily a 4. I think the placement on the card, the crowd not being as invested as they should have, and then the interference, I did take it down a little bit.
That's fair.
And then I do like that they teased the ladder war within this, which is fantastic. Here we go. We're at the main event. This is winner take all. This is for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship and the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. We have
title versus title.
Yeah. To winner take all, the TV champion Jay Lethal versus Jay Briscoe, the world champion. And of course Jay Lethal being accompanied by Jay Diesel, Donovan Dijak, and Truth Martini, the House of Truth. Jeff, this is all you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I can't explain. Again, wrestling is wrestling, right? So we watch wrestling for storylines and this, that, and the other. But when you get older, you're not a child anymore, and storylines can be good or bad. But you get emotionally invested in this stuff, and I was emotionally invested into this storyline. Because if you watch, if you're an OG watcher of Ring of Honor like me, not that I'm the purist, as people watch it before me, but that you're talking about Jay Lethal, who was a guy that is Mr. Ring of Honor, who you thought would never climb the mountain. Then he climbs the mountain, and then he gets the belt, and then he turns his back on Ring of Honor to some extent with the House of Truth and Truth Martini. And he's a damn good heel at this time. And he's running roughshod over everybody. And then you also have Jay Briscoe, who is also, again, Mr. Ring of Honor. Him and Mark tag team from day one. And they're just absolutely amazing. But you have that aspect of Jay Lethal kind of never being on his own necessarily, and can he be the guy? Is he going to be the guy? So he wins a TV title. And well, obviously he's the guy. But just if you're looking at it again through a booking / emotionally invested, this all culminates up to this match here in title versus title, and not like title versus title and someone wins and then we get rid of this other belt or it turns into something else. No, it was still the TV title.
Mm-hmm.
So this match meant so much to me, and it was so good. And I may be a little bit of a homer, but it was just a really good match with really good storytelling, the right amount of everything, if you ask me, and two guys that respect each other and who are trying to kill each other in a good way, not like a death match way. With hard hitting, with wrestling, with, some shenanigans, but not, too much for me. And even Codd, and you can tell, just go back and look at the fans. This is a match you could watch with no sound. With no sound, and you could be excited and you could just look at everybody else and wonder, like, what's going on? Not what's going on, but like, just look at how everybody's, hot for this and popping for this. Cause really, I didn't know. I was like, well, they've got to go with Jay, right? Right. You know what I mean? Like, he's ready, right? It's, think of a match that you've watched that you've been waiting for so long and you have invested with so people that you actually would have been fine with either or winning, like that's a good storyline. Like, either one could have went over and I've been like, yeah, that was the right thing to do. You could have convinced yourself, both ways that this was probably better for what needed to be done. Go ahead, Codd. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're absolutely right. This match is just fantastic. There's no wrong way about it. The fact that we don't get more long-term booking or storylines like that today is kind of a crime. Where, exactly to your point, it doesn't matter who wins. We, the fans, win, because it does not matter. Wins and losses don't matter at this point. I don't even know where to start with this match. I think it was really great that Nigel McGuinness gets up from a commentary and sends Truth Martini to the back. I loved that, because I think at times he would be sitting at commentary and we would forget, like, he's kind of an authority figure. Like,
he is. No, yeah, he was. That's what he grew into.
Yeah.
And the pop for that.
Hard. Gosh, the end of this match, it's just so good.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So from the start, this is going to be a long match, because it was more of a methodical, not hot out of the gate. It was still catch as catch can, but it was still back and forth. About halfway through, it kind of died down a little for me, which if this is going to be a 30-minute match, I'm totally fine with, because at some point you can't keep going hit. And then you get the Truth Martini ejection, and then we get to kind of the denouement of this match, where
look at you.
Where we get Jay Lethal hitting a Jay Driller, and then a lethal injection, gets the win, hard pop, And it's crazy to think that, and this is the other kind of big telling point of this match. Jay Lethal's kind of a heel right now. If he's not, he's in a heel stable.
Oh yeah. Oh, he is, because Jake, he couldn't get it done until Truth Martini necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, he couldn't get it done until Truth Martini.
Yeah, but then, the 3 count happens and everybody just pops hard for this.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Jay Lethal. Good for Black Machismo. All right, to finally get the big one.
And this was just one of their because they had a couple, if memory serves me correct.
Yeah, this is their best in my opinion.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna start the grading because I really went back and forth on this, and if you include the entire feud in this, the entire storyline, it's a 5. This is a 5-star Matt Classic. There is not one moment in this match where you didn't care, and I think that sometimes is the difference between maybe a 4.5 or a 4.75 out of 5. In my eyes, is like how much did I care? Like, there are 5-star matches I could not care a drop about.
Yep.
And then there's a match like this where every move was done with the intent to further the match, further the story you're telling. And then by the end, you cared completely. So it's a 5-star match for me. There was nothing done wrong here.
Yeah, and again, this is the one that really chaps me to no end, because again, Dave Meltzer used to be a knight in shining armor against hokey BS. I mean, he used to be my guy, and now he's a guy, and wrestling has changed, so he has to change, and that's fair. But now it's like, so this isn't a 5-star match, but again, some rando match on a Dynamite with Phoenix and I don't know, put said other person in it. Yeah, well, no, not even Omega, but I mean, okay, well, you can use Omega, but just like
I'll only use that because their match on the January 1st edition of Dynamite got a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, and okay, like, and if that's where modern wrestling is now, that's fine, whatever. But this match isn't a 5. This Jay Lethal and Jay Briscoe isn't a 5-star match. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, now would be a 5-star. Like, so hopefully now it would be, if they had it now, that would be a 5-star match, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be. Still, like,
yeah, I've seen this match twice now. I watched it in real time, and then I watched it. Well, no, this would be 3 times because I watched it before we went to do this review the first time, and then I watched it just this past week when I rewatched this show, and there's always something to take away from this.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite matches of all time. And again, like, it doesn't have to be other people's, and that's fair. Again, I'm probably overhyping it. There may be a little bit of truth to that, but just the way I like my wrestling, and I'm not like the internet wrestling community now. I don't have to push it onto you. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's fine. I'm not going to tell you why you're wrong and 15 tweets on why you should like it this way. No, you people like what they like, and they like it how they like it.
Yeah.
But for me, I was invested into this match, and this was everything I needed, and an absolutely glorious match. It's just me.
Yeah, it's a 5-star match any way you look at it, and if you don't see it that way, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Just know that your opinion's wrong right now, because this is what professional wrestling is. And just as we were talking about earlier in the triple threat that Roddy Strong was everything wrestling in 2015. Like this is the same breath that we're going to get now. And, after this show now, we're going to get Roderick Strong versus Jay Lethal for the world championship. 2015, God bless.
And if I could go off this again, this is Ring of Honor. They've always been like this. Now, every main event isn't, or every match isn't as good as this match. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean, as in, like, when you start to go back and you talk about Bryan Danielson, you talk about Nigel, you talk about Joe, you talk about Punk, Austin Aries, like all these guys that have gone through these doors. And to be fair to Ring of Honor, they've also always been a place you go to get yourself right and then go to the next level. So I'm not knocking them for that either. But like they've always been this beacon of professional wrestling when there was none. Like, like it's the original, like now everything's AEW, that's pro wrestling at its finest. No, it's not. It's actually still Ring of Honor. But for the newer folks, the 2017 folks, like this is, your AEW 1.0, like when there was nothing. And I argue this all the time. Like people don't understand, like John Cena was running roughshod over everybody, not named CM Punk, or The Rock, but just forever. And if you wanted to watch pro wrestling, you watch New Japan. That's a given. Yeah. Or you watch Ring of Honor.
Yeah. And this is completely opposite from, I think, a lot of the other cards we've covered, where you look at this card from top to bottom, and the first third of it is so underwhelming. And then you look at the middle part where, you have the triple threat and the 6-man tag. And then you look at the last two matches. And so you take the back 2/3 and it's a superb wrestling card. But then you look at the first third and it's like, well, what are we doing? And I feel like it was, Ring of Honor now has this plethora of stars and big name guys and big feuds, and it's best in the world. But I feel like placement on the card was a real issue for this.
Yeah, it was.
The fact that there was just no traction in the first third, kind of, I still give this a 4-star out of 5. You need to go watch this. This is probably about a B grade show. Which probably brings it to a B+ or A- with the main event. If you watch any match on this card, it's the main event. Yeah.
I would have paid. I mean, I guess it's easy to say in hindsight, but I would have paid whatever the pay-per-view was to watch that one match.
Yeah.
And again, I'm probably being a homer, and that's fair. I'm probably gassing it up, and that's fair. So people take it with a grain of salt. But, again, for where I was in my life and watching this was, again, like you said, Codd, the combination of a really good storyline that couldn't have been done any better. And I understand every storyline you can't do like that. You get lightning in a bottle and things just work.
Yeah.
But this was one of those things for me.
That is Best in the World 2015. I know you've been waiting patiently for it. So, this is a great card. Go watch it. Go invest in Honor Club. It is the best $7.99 a month you could spend. So go check that out. You can catch this card, all their old stuff, all their current stuff. It's a great way to spend your $8 a month. So on to the next episode, which will be October 3rd. It's Halloween Havoc. Halloween Havoc time, and I'm so excited for this because last year we did a cavalcade of Halloween Havoc shows through the entire month of October. This time we're only doing one, but I feel like this card has everything. And when I mean everything, you have a negative star match. You have a dud match. You have an intergender match. You have an almost 5-star classic. You have
just a round table of this got it all.
Yeah, and it's got Lex Luger. Guys, this is WCW Halloween 1997. Like I said, it'll be our October 3rd episode here in 2 weeks. We'll be back on schedule after that. With that being said, Jeff, where can they find you on the Twitter machine?
It's at Jeff M Hall 1. I'm a simple guy, simple things. So yeah, that's at Twitter. Check me out. Check Codd out.
Yeah, all of the socials will be in the description below. Again, guys, thank you for visiting the channel. Make sure to catch us live Mondays on Facebook, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the PWO WrestleCast, the premier professional wrestling podcast. Go check that out. And don't forget, when it's us two, it's always referee's discretion.
Mm-hmm.
For Jeff, my name is Ryan, and we'll see you next time.